Attention shoppers, our store is now closing. Please make your final selections and bring them to our registers for checkout. Thanks for shopping with us.
Hello everybody, Mac here. Welcome back to the show. So Pulsecon 2024 is over, it is done, it is in the books. And I'm pretty sure it went off the way everybody thought it was going to go off. There was some looking forward into the future as to what we can expect towards the end of the year and into next year, especially for things like Dungeons and Dragons. There was a lot of product reveal. There was a lot of pre-orders that went up for sale yesterday. There were a lot of crybabies in the chat, and there was a lot of Pulse exclusives to funnel your business towards them. So I have to admit that it was kind of meh. For being the 5-year mark and for them making such a big deal about it being the 5-year mark, I don't think there was anything really wow that came out of this one, with the exception of one thing, one wave that's coming for Marvel Legends. And if you saw the clip at the beginning of this video, you probably know what I'm talking about anyway. But the things that I watched for, as you probably guessed, and as I even told you yesterday, Friday, it's Saturday, time of recording, was G.I. Joe and Dungeons and Dragons. And I paid a little bit of attention to Marvel Legends, not much, really didn't get into Star Wars that much. But before we get on to anything else, let's talk about the exclusives that are still up for pre-order on Hasbro Pulse. And I'm just going to go over these real fast. That for Star Wars, we have the Black Series Stap and Battle Droid 2-pack, which we saw that coming. For Marvel Legends, we have Kang the Conqueror on his throne. Everybody has seen that coming down the line. We've seen pictures of that. For Transformers, there was the Legacy United Dinobot Dino King multi-pack, which when I first saw that, I thought, okay, that looks pretty cool. But then when I saw it on Hasbro Pulsecon, I think the Dinobots are like that big. So if you're a Transformers fan, that might be what you're into. And for Marvel Legends, they got a 2-pack for the VHS series. It's part of the, I believe, the animated Spider-Man cartoon, something I actually never watched. It is Marvel Legends series Spider-Man and Marvel's Vulture 2-pack, and it comes with 2 heads for Vulture, for the older look of Vulture, and then the younger look whenever he drains people's life force. Vulture could do that in the cartoon. That's kind of wild. And then, of course, that takes us back around to my bread and butter, the reason I got back into this in the first place, this hobby in the first place. That is the G.I. Joe Classified series Starduster. And that is the PulseCon exclusive for the G.I. Joe Classified series. And I have to say, it's pretty okay. Like, I think this is a great exclusive because it's something niche. It's something that, like, not everybody would want. I barely want it, to be completely honest with you. I'm just getting it because I have a problem. But Starduster, I didn't even have Starduster in the vintage line in the 80s. I never got that cereal. I never sent away for him. He just didn't do anything for me. I think even as a kid when I looked at it, I was like, it's Duke with a new paint job and a jetpack. I could make this figure myself. So I didn't really go for it. This time he is in what I think is his vintage gear. He has the jetpack. He has Gung Ho's grenade launcher and the XL laser rifle. He comes with a cardboard punch out that you can make his box of cereal. I mean, we all saw this. We knew this was coming. We saw this at San Diego Comic-Con. One of the additions that I do like, oh, he has his helmet with the visor too, which I think up until this point we've only seen on the retro card Duke. But one of the things that I like that they added to him was that he does have the steel core flight helmet, which I think is a nice touch. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about them adding all of these characters into the steel core, but the more and more they bring out and they sort of sparse it out, like so far we've had Clutch and Grunt and now Starduster and some Night Force. I kind of dig it that like the steel core is kind of becoming to the Joes like what the Marines are to the Navy, like separate but the same kind of thing. I kind of like that. Now, Starduster, all of these exclusives, time of recording, Saturday, are still available for pre-order on the Hasbro Pulse website. And all of those, obviously, the only place you can get them is Hasbro Pulse. But everything else we're about to talk about is available at other places, like our sponsor, Entertainment Earth. Link down in the description below for everything we're going to talk about today. So, that takes us into what else we got for the G.I. Joe Classified line. And let me bring that page up so I don't forget anything. Now, for a line that the last time we had reveals, the last time we had a wave where you had characters like a ninja wielding two katana. You had a guy dressed up as a bird with a flight pack a la the Vulture from Marvel Legends, or Marvel Comics. You had golden androids that would take the front line. This wave, I feel, is a much more grounded wave than the last one. And I know there's a lot of people that are going to like that, and that's really cool. There's some that I like about this. There's some that I'm like, take it or leave it for this. And unfortunately, my first take it or leave it is going to be Dial Tone. I didn't have Dial Tone as a kid. He just didn't do anything for me. I had Breaker. I didn't see why I needed Dial Tone until they killed Breaker. But so I didn't. It never occurred to me for some reason that the Joes would need two communications specialists to talk to each other. But I do like how they've sort of kept him looking vintage because he did have a very unique look, but they've also updated him. That I like, he can take his backpack off and it has that flip down keyboard right there. And you see him in the photos here like calling in an airstrike. I think that's really cool. I like that they did leave it as a big backpack and he has the mic piece that can come up front. He has a holster for his cell phone. Okay, Dad. Strong dad energy right there. And he has a old sound gun, you know, with the big dish that you pointed at things and it like picks stuff up. I don't even know if things like that still exist anymore. Some people may not have any idea what I'm talking about. So I think Dial Tone was a good update, and he's definitely more interesting to me now than he was in the vintage line, but I don't know if he's going to be one that I'm going to run out and get right away. The other one is Leatherhead, and I know a lot of people have been Leatherneck. Leatherhead is a different line. The other one is Leatherneck. Boom. And I know a lot of people have been looking forward to Leatherneck coming out, another frontline infantry trooper, a Marine, and one of the things that I do like, that I liked about him in the vintage line, is that M16. I think they gave him the M16A2 with the grenade launcher slung underneath. I really liked that, and I don't know. I've always been on the fence about Leatherneck, that on one hand, he's cool. It's always good to have like more infantry, but on the other hand, he's infantry. And there's nothing that really makes him stand out from the other ones like Grunt, for example. But I don't know, like, he's a good addition. And if you're trying to like army build G.I. Joe where you want like frontline infantry soldiers, he's definitely the guy that you want to add to your collection and put up on the shelf. So once again, I'll no doubt end up getting him, but I don't think he's going to be one that I'm going to jump on right away. There were only four 4 pre-orders for G.I. Joe, not counting Starduster. Starduster's the exclusive. But there were only 4 Joes that were put up for pre-order yesterday. And the next 2 are the ones that I am the most excited about. And I think once you take a look at them, you're going to see that there is a vast difference between those 2 and the 2 that we just talked about. And the first one is Xandar. Oh my lord, I am so glad we are finally getting Xandar. We can complete the siblings, Zartan, Zarana, and Xandar now. Now all we need is Zanya, and we'll be cool. But I really like what they did with Xandar. Now, he has armor on, which he didn't have in the vintage figure. He had the shoulder pads, but he didn't have any chest armor, that he had scars and tattoos on underneath. And Lenny said in the live stream that if you do the hot water thing and you pop the arms off and you pull the armor off, he does have his deco underneath. So he has his tattoos, he has his scars underneath. If they were going to do that, I wish they would have just made the armor removable, like given it like snaps or like clips down the back or something so that you could peel it off without having to pop his arms off and everything. But it is good to know that it's under there. He also has the pink scarf that he wears that is part of Zarana's jacket, which is always cool. And I didn't think it was, they keep saying part of her jacket, but I didn't think it was part of her jacket. I thought it was the midriff that was ripped off the bottom of the shirt that she's wearing, and he wears that around his neck. That's what I thought it was. So tell me if I'm wrong, or if anybody else thought that, or if nobody else even knew that he was wearing part of her clothing. But I love that we're finally getting the last of the siblings in there. And like I said, all we need is Zanya now, and the family will be set. The family will be ready. I think Xandar looks fantastic. I love that they muted down the blue of his outfit a little bit. Makes him a little more gritty, a little more, I don't know, just mean looking. I like that it's like not these like bright pastels, but he still has like that bright hair, and like I said, going back to it, that pink scarf around his neck. He comes with his knife, comes with a pistol that holsters into his armor, and he has his harpoon gun, and he has a backpack that has the harpoons in it as well. So once again, G.I. Joe going to be able to deck out everything that he has on him, and I love that. Now the last one, the one that I am at the same time the most excited about and a little about, is the Saw Viper. I love the Saw Viper. I loved the Saw Viper when I was a kid, even before he appeared in the comic book. One thing I want to point out is that for the Saw Viper, where it says Saw, S-A-W, it says semi-automatic weapon. And a lot of people know that's not right. It's supposed to be squad automatic weapon. And I think they did that as a nod to the vintage line. That in the vintage line in the 80s, they made that mistake and called it a semi-automatic weapon as well. And I think because of that, they're just carrying this forward. I really hope they know it's not that, but I think this is one of those on-purpose mistakes they made, just like when they spelled Nox wrong on the back of Torch's backpack. That they thought it would be funny, they thought it would be a nod to the vintage line, and I don't think it's landing as well as they think it will. But that's definitely not what SAW stands for. And it's definitely not there for chainsaw, which is what my man has. He has that chainsaw bayonet on the front of his weapon, and I was not a big fan of that when I saw it on the digital renders back at San Diego Comic-Con. The thing that saves it for me, though, is that it is removable. You can take it off. It doesn't have to be there. I was very happy to see that, because that was just a little too Gears of War for me. That, like, he's not carrying a Lancer, for goodness sakes. He's carrying a belt fed. So I'm really happy they can take it off, and more than likely, whenever I display my Saw Troopers, my Saw Vipers, they're not going to have that chainsaw on the front of their weapon. The other thing I wasn't really thrilled about was that it's sort of like an underslung weapon like this. I liked it better when it was like a shoulder stock, belt fed. So I don't hate that. I get what they're going for, that like Cobra, Destro, Mars Corporation has all these different designs, all these different weapons. And I think there was something in the description where I was reading about that like there's a targeting reticule in the helmet that it's like seeing through the gun, so he's still aiming and not just pointing. So that's okay, but I still would prefer like a shoulder mounted, good old fashioned weapon like that. But I don't hate it. Although, probably the first chance I get to find something to replace it, I'll do that. But it doesn't look bad. It looks so much better without having that chainsaw on it. And from what I understand, all of the armor is removable. The helmet is removable, and he has that black, like, balaclava mask underneath. His shoulder armor comes off. Apparently, you can really strip this guy down, streamline him out. So, I'm digging that. I'm digging that the Saw Viper's in the line. Despite the issues I have with his weapon, I think the figure looks great, and I can't wait to get 1, 2, maybe 4 of those and, you know, put them on the shelf next to Doc. Too soon? So that's actually all they had for G.I. Joe. I was kind of surprised. I thought they were going to expand that out. I thought we were going to see more in the Pulsecon live stream, but all they really put out was things that were coming out for pre-order this weekend. And there was no name only reveals. We did get digital renders though on Instagram. It wasn't part of the live stream, but we did get them on Instagram. And there were 2 digital renders, and the first one we're going to talk about is Law and Order, because that looks awesome. I got to admit, when Law and Order came out in the vintage line, I was kind of like, meh, and I don't think I ever got that figure because I had Mutt and Junkyard. I didn't see a point to having Law and Order. That was also when I was too young to really understand what an MP was, so there's that too. But I dig this. This looks good. Once again, the dog, I honestly forget which is which. I think the dog is Law and the dude is Order. I think that's how it goes. So Law comes with 2 heads. He has his good boy head and he has his working boy head, which I think is really cool. I like the accessories that Order comes with. He has the handcuffs that I think we got with Chuckles. Also, check out that Uzi. I really like that Uzi for 2 reasons. One, I like that Uzi sculpt to begin with, even though no one in the military uses the Uzi anymore. At least I don't think they do. But I like the paint job they gave that Uzi. The khaki green on the black mold. I think that's really cool, because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that Uzi and I'm going to swap that for the M16A2 with Mutt and Junkyard. So Mutt and Junkyard will get that Uzi. Order will get the M16A2. And then I'll take the suppressor that I have from one of my numerous Snake Eyes, pop it on that Uzi when I give it to Mutt, and he'll be back to having like that suppressed submachine gun look. Because I really feel like if you're working with a pet a dog as close as Mutt and Junkyard work together, it should be suppressed. I know it's not going to completely silence it, but I don't know. To me, that just always made more sense that like if you got a dog with you, put a suppressor on your weapon. Now that leaves Order with the M16A2, but not every day is a Sunday. I don't know what to tell you. I could find something for that one, but I really think swapping them is going to look better, especially with Order being somebody that would stand guard, that would post having an M16A2. I feel like that's something more that they would have on them. Like he has his pistol, which obviously he would have, but like if he was at a checkpoint or something, like I could see him having his sidearm holstered and then like the M16 like mounted on a wall for quick access or something. I don't know. I've never been an MP. I don't really know too many people that were MPs, so I don't know how they operate. But tell me if you know how that swap sounds, because that just seems to make more sense. It would look better, I think. And yeah, I'm actually excited about Law and Order coming out in the classified line now. The other one that we got a digital render for was Heavy Duty. And when we got the name only reveal of him, and I think that was at SDCC, I wasn't that thrilled about it because I didn't like that, work desk weapons that Heavy Duty walked around with. And I was hoping that with the classified line, they might rein that in a little bit. Man, was I wrong. They went full ham on him. Look at this thing. He wears that. It's almost like an exoskeleton. And I kind of feel the same way about this that I felt about Metalhead when he came out. That I get this is kind of like a grown-up version of what we saw in the vintage line. I get this is very reminiscent of what they did with the figure in the vintage line, but in the same sense, I wasn't into this in the vintage line, and I'm definitely not into this now. I know there's going to be a lot of people that are like ramped up and excited about this, but for me, I don't know. The only thing that might save, I shouldn't say save it, but the only thing that might appeal to me is if you look at that rig that he's supposed to be wearing, there's 2 quad rocket launchers down on the base, and I'm thinking maybe you can pop those off and they can just be like the shoulder mounted weapon like they're meant to be, in which case that would be kind of cool. You could do away with that whole assembly right there and just have him carrying around a rocket launcher and maybe like a big machine gun or something. But that rig, and you know it's going to be a deluxe figure, that's probably going to be a $45 figure, that I might get him eventually. I'm definitely not getting him at release, but I might wait and see if he goes on sale and then do something with him on my own. Because I have to admit, the figure, if that's really how the figure is going to look, the figure looks cool. It's everything that comes with this that I'm really not into. So that was what we had for the Classified series. The other thing I said I was going to be watching was going to be Dungeons and Dragons. And I did pay attention to the Dungeons and Dragons portion of the fan stream. But to be completely honest, I'm not going to talk about any of that right now because a lot of that stuff was just projecting things that are coming out down the line. Most of it for the new 2024 rules, which I guess is like version edition 5.2, 5.5, I don't know. Apparently they took the 5th edition rules, ramped them up, changed them, shipping them out. And I'm getting very much a vibe of what happened with 3rd edition when 3.5 came out. That they're basically the same rules, but there have been changes to kind of streamline it. I still play the 3rd edition rules with a smattering of 3.5, so it's kind of like a 3.25 version that I play. And I never really got it. I definitely didn't get into 4th edition, never really paid much attention to 5th edition. And the stuff that's coming out, it's okay. It's nothing new to me anyway. I've been playing since like the late 70s, early 80s. So like nothing that's coming out now is like really new that I could grab and even like reverse engineer it back to 3rd edition. So, but one thing I do like is that they projected like through the end of this year and into 2025, all of the newness that's going to be coming out. They also did some stuff to promote their Dungeons and Dragons digital platform, which I can't remember what the name is. And apparently Baldur's Gate 2 is coming to that. So you can like role play Baldur's Gate 2 in like the digital mini format of what their digital platform is. And so that's all I'm going to say about D&D. So we went over Classified. I feel like we had some really good reveals for Classified. I feel like there was something for everybody in this release of Classified. We have D&D, which I'm not going to be getting into. But the other one that I watched was Marvel Legends. And while they didn't reveal anything for the Midnight Suns from the 90s, not the video game, they didn't reveal anything for the Midnight Suns like I was hoping. There was something that was released that was shown off that I wasn't expecting, and that was the Marvel Secret Wars series. Now, last year we had the 2-pack of Doctor Doom and Captain Marvel, and that was cool. The Doctor Doom figure I felt looked really cool. But now they're just going all in. And these figures are kind of awesome. Some history, some backstory. Marvel Secret Wars was the first superhero comic I ever read. So G.I. Joe was the first comic I read, but Secret Wars was the first superhero comic I had ever read. And I knew who the Fantastic Four was. I knew who Spider-Man was, Captain America, Doctor Doom, Magneto. I knew the Hulk. I knew them from TV shows, cartoons, things like that, but I'd never actually read the comics until Secret Wars came out, and then that old vintage toy line came out, and I loved everything about that. I was kind of upset when Secret Wars ended because I just wanted to keep seeing these two massive factions of heroes and villains just slamming into each other again and again and again. Now, the toy line was very short lived, didn't go nearly as deep as I would have hoped, even as a kid, but we got some really, really cool figures coming out for this that I am not a Marvel Legends collector, but I may jump in on this line. And we got the first one I want to talk about is we're getting an action figure of the Beyonder, which I find very interesting because this version of the Beyonder didn't appear until Secret Wars 2. But I get it. It's Secret Wars. You got to have your big bad, and that's the Beyonder right there. They all come with the lenticular shields. I think that is really cool. I think that is really cool. That wasn't something that I was expecting them to do, especially because they didn't do it for the Doom and Captain Marvel 2-pack, which is also making me wonder now if they're going to re-release Doom and Captain Marvel in this type of packaging, because this is definitely like a retro style packaging job with the colors, with the logo, in that blister, all of the accessories displayed. And even when you get to, let's go to Iron Man here, this 80s style Iron Man who comes with his roller skates, but which is insane to me that Iron Man had roller skates, but he comes with his roller skates, but he also comes with that double barrel blaster that a lot of the figures came with. And that is really awesome. The only thing he's missing is that band around his thigh that you could hook the blaster into so that he could holster it. That's the only thing that's missing, and I'm kind of bummed about that because that was him and Doom both had that, but this is just cool. The villains have the square shields, the heroes have the circular shields. And for the villains, you've already seen the Beyonder, but there's only one other villain that we're getting, and that is, let me bring her up, right here, Titania. Now, Titania was not part of the vintage line, and as far as I know, Titania, this version of Titania isn't available in the Marvel Legends line either. So whether you're collecting Secret Wars or just Marvel Legends, this would be a really cool add to your display if you're a Marvel Legends collector, because they showed her in the live stream next to She-Hulk, and while she is bigger than most female characters, as a matter of fact, I think she's roughly the same size, maybe even built on the same body as what was the Wonder Woman wannabe? I can't remember, but you know who I'm talking about. That she's pretty much that size, but she's not as big as She-Hulk, which I think was a really cool touch. And they put her in the video, they put her next to that retro She-Hulk that just recently came out, and the two of them looked really cool together. Those were the only two villains that they came out with for this line, which makes me think there's going to be more. They have to continue this line. I mean, there's so many more villains, and they need to redo Doctor Doom and Captain Marvel so that they can get this packaging with those shields. So I'm really hoping that, like, at some point, Doom is going to be coming out later. Now, for the heroes, you saw Iron Man already, that he came with his skates, that classic 80s Iron Man look, hand blast effects for his repulsors. Comes with a lot of accessories. I think it comes with the circular smoke accessories as well, and that pistol. The one that is currently sold out on Hasbro Pulse, but is still available at our sponsor Entertainment Earth, links in the description below, is Wolverine. And I've never really been excited about a Wolverine figure because I don't collect Marvel Legends, but this Wolverine figure, I don't know, something about the brown suit in those bright colors, the really high peaked like head wings, like this is the Wolverine I was first introduced to. And he comes with his lenticular shield. He comes with that vintage packaging. He comes with two head sculpts, one mask on, one mask off. The mask off head sculpt, I think, looks fantastic. This is just how I remember him from the comics in the 80s. And he has that lenticular shield. that can bounce back and forth between masked Wolverine and unmasked Wolverine. The let me just say that the shields don't come with like multiple lenticular discs. Basically, they all come with like the hero version, the secret identity version of them, and then there's just a solid Secret Wars disc that you can put into the shield as well. Now, what else do we have? We have first appearance Black Suit Spidey. Now, I know we've been getting a lot of Black Suit Spider-Man, but this one for the Secret Wars is very important to me and probably to a lot of comic readers and collectors because this is the first appearance of the symbiote. This is the first appearance of what would eventually become Venom. He got it during the Secret Wars. It's so interesting to me that something as iconic as the Black Suit, as Venom, as the symbiote came out of something that was basically a maxi series, that was meant to be a one-off, that was meant to sell toys, that wasn't, I don't think was ever meant to be as big of a deal as it is. And that is where we get one of the most iconic Spidey villains that has ever come out. Like, I mean, let's face it, Venom ranks right up there with Goblin and Doc Ock. So I love that we're getting this version in the Secret Wars packaging with the lenticular shield in that old style. I think that is fantastic. The only thing he's missing, and if you were a collector of the old Secret Wars figures, you'll know why I'm saying this. The only thing he's missing is toe articulation. He should really have a toe joint on that figure. But it looks really good. It looks like it can bend and pose really well. And he comes with fists, splayed out hands, and thwip hands. Those are all of the hands that you need. He even comes with 2 head sculpts. He doesn't come with a Peter Parker head, but he comes with the head sculpt with the eyes wide, and he comes with the head sculpt with the eyes squinting, which I think is a really interesting touch, and I dig that. And I'm excited about this whole line. I think I'm more excited about a Marvel Legends wave than I am about my own G.I. Joe right now, just because of how much this really hits home with me. And the last one that they are releasing is our man, our hero, our champion, Captain America with his broken shield. Now, this may not seem like a big deal to a lot of people who are fans of the MCU or modern comic readers, but this was the first time the shield was actually broken, when Doom absorbed some of the power of the Beyonder, broke Cap's shield, and that was supposed to be a symbolic moment of he broke the heroes. He had won, the heroes had lost. But then Cap was able to reforge it. The technology of Warworld was able to rebuild the shield, and he came back stronger than ever, and it was just freaking awesome. Hey guys, Mac here from the future. As I was editing, I realized I forgot to mention something very important. It wasn't just Warworld's technology that allowed Cap to reforge his shield. It was Cap's will. It was his belief in himself and his team. It was his belief that good would conquer evil. It was his belief that they could win. It was Cap being Cap, and he just sort of willed his shield back into solid form, back into existence. And it was such an iconic moment of the comics, and it was so awesome. And it was one of those moments in comics that kind of makes your hair stand on your arms. And I just really wanted to come back and correct what I said and let you know just how cool and how inspiring and how awesome that moment was. I only wish this version came with a completed shield as well, because I don't have many Captain America figures. As a matter of fact, I think I have one Captain America figure that I don't have a fully forged shield that I would be able to give him. So maybe I have to buy a Captain America now. I don't know. But I love this version of Cap. This 80s version with the light blue, the bright colors, the broken shield. He has 2 head sculpts, one with a big toothy smile, one with like his let's get business done face, multiple hands, and of course his lenticular shield as well. This wave has me so excited. So much so that I think I'm just going to go all in and order the whole set, because it's Secret Wars. It's something from my childhood. And it's something that, like, I felt like they never really completed. And I'm hoping Marvel Legends will continue to bring out things for the Secret Wars line like they have for, like, the VHS series of figures. That I don't expect a wave like this every time they come out with new releases, but like peppering like one or two, maybe a few 2-packs here and there throughout the line over the next year would be awesome. And this is kind of making me wonder if I need to find that Doctor Doom and Captain Marvel 2-pack, or if they're going to repackage them, rebrand them, put them in the Secret Wars line. There was no mention of that. At least I didn't hear any. So, yeah, who knew? I would be more excited about the Marvel Legends release than I am about the G.I. Joe Classified release. There was much more going on with the live stream than what I'm talking about today, but these are the things that interest me, the things I got into. There wasn't much in Star Wars that I was excited about. There wasn't any. I didn't even watch Magic the Gathering, to be completely honest. And Transformers was okay, but I'm just not a Transformers fan, so I don't know how Transformers fans feel about what was released. But I will put links, like I said, to all of this in the description below. I will put a link to the actual Pulsecon live stream in the description below. If you want my opinion, turn off the chat and just watch the live stream. And let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the stuff that we talked about. Let me know what you think about the stuff we didn't talk about. If there's anything you're excited about that we didn't discuss here, because that's the thing about Hasbro. There's usually something for everybody down there. Like, they really hit all of their markers, all of their big brands. The thing that I was disappointed in was that there was nothing new for Hero Quest. And I just bought my edition of Hero Quest, and there's a lot of expansions out there, but I was really hoping there might be something else coming out down the line. I know I have a lot that I can still pick up, but I was kind of hoping Avalon Hill might be putting out some stuff for Hero Quest coming out going into the holidays. So let me know what you think, comment down below, and let me know if you liked Pulsecon as much as I did, because even though there was nothing like wow and groundbreaking about it, I always enjoy these things. Don't touch that dial. Before you go, please remember to do all the YouTube things, like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you already are a subscriber, what a legend you are. If you like what we do here and you want to help the channel grow, please consider becoming a member, whether through YouTube memberships or our Coffee monthly subscription. Links to that in the description below. Both of them for $1 a month. You can get access to exclusive content, such as our monthly member exclusive video. This month is the Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified series Stinger. So until next time, my friends, play well, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.